Shalom. First off, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to the hopeful elect that are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. And to all my brothers out here preaching this truth to you, I say Shalom. This is a Montazar from Chicago camp coming back at you again with the conclusion of Swine's Flesh, Strange Religion, Because I Fear Him. So today we're going to go over the article, okay, which incited me to do the lesson in the first place. This article is by Bailey Cadman, okay. He says, is eating pork unclean? All right. Now in parts 1, 2, and 3, I kind of set up this particular lesson, all right, by going into the fact that Esau, Edom are the people of the Lord's curse, okay, and you don't trust them for anything, especially trying to break down these scriptures for you. That's not going to work. These scriptures weren't committed to him, all right? These scriptures were committed to Jacob, okay, and Israel, all right? He have not dealt so with any other nation. So it's not Esau, Edom that's going to break these scriptures down, all right, and tell you the truth. In part 2, we talked about the memorial of Eleazar. That was the 90-year-old scribe, all right, that was constrained to eat swine's flesh, okay? And the Bible said it was a memorial, okay? The way that Eleazar took his death and punishment manfully, okay? And it was a testament or a memorial for those who will come after. So in Romans, the 15th chapter, the 4th verse says, for whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. Okay? And that's what all of these things are written for. And that's exactly why Esau tried to hide it from us by taking the Apocrypha out of the Bible, okay, for a certain amount of time before it was put back in. And these atrocities are found in the book of the Maccabees, the first book and also the second. Okay. So we see in the second book of the Maccabees, the 6th chapter, that's the memorial of Eleazar. Okay. And then in the 7th chapter, okay, Maccabees 2 and 7, you have the memorial of the mother and her 7 sons. Okay. Both of these examples basically are memorials, okay, because they refuse to eat swine's flesh. Okay, today Esau calls it pork. And so for any Israelite under the sound of my voice, anyone you're listening right now, Christianity tells you it's okay to eat pork. That's because of Esau, Edom. All right, it's never been okay to eat pork. They're unclean. It's an unclean animal. All right. So in this article, you're gonna have Esau, Edom try to lie, all right, and twist the scriptures to fit his agenda, all right, for his own personal enterprise. So before we go ahead and get started, I just want to recap on the memorial of Eleazar and the woman. This is 2 Maccabees 6 and 27. And verse 27 is actually Eleazar speaking, saying, wherefore now, manfully changing this life, I will show myself such as one as mine age requireth, and leave a notable example to such as be young to die willingly and courageously for the honorable and holy laws. Okay? He says, and leave a notable example to such as be young to die willingly and courageously for the honorable and holy laws. And when he had said these words, immediately he went to the torment. But when he was ready to die with stripes, he groaned and said, it is manifest unto the Lord that hath the holy knowledge, and whereas I might have been delivered from death, I now endure sore pains in body by being beaten. but in soul and well content to suffer these things, because I fear him. And thus this man died, leaving his death for an example of a notable courage and a memorial of virtue, not only unto young men, but unto all his nation. Okay? So you can't you can't add anything to that or take anything away. It is what it is. It says that his death was a memorial, not only to young men, but to the entire nation. Okay? It said it was all about virtue, a memorial of virtue. So Eleazar didn't die, so you can eat pork. This is 2 Maccabees 7:20. But the mother was marvelous above all, and worthy of honorable memory. For when she saw her 7 sons slain within the space of one day, slain for what? Because they refused to eat swine's flesh. She bare it with good courage, because of the hope that she had in the Lord. Let this be enough now to have spoken concerning the idolatrous feast and the extreme tortures. That's right, extreme tortures. Esau tortured us, okay, for not eating swine's flesh. Now, I said it, okay? These idolatrous feasts that involve swine's flesh was forced upon us. Okay, this was part of the Hellenization, okay, of the nation of Israel. This is where you get the Israelites being called Gentiles, okay, and being forced to partake in these feasts. That's why when you read the book of Maccabees, first and second Maccabees, you see all of these evils. Okay, Maccabees 1 says, when Esau Edom got into power, evils were multiplied in the earth. This is Sirach 32:17. It says, a sinful man will not be reproved, but findeth an excuse according to his will. Psalms 50:16. But unto the wicked the Most High saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, and that thou should take my covenant in thy mouth, seeing thou hatest instruction and castest my words behind thee? When thou sawest a thief, then thou consentest with him, and hast been partaker with adulterers. Thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue frameth deceit. Okay? And this deception, okay, when he's trying to twist the scriptures to make you think that what's unclean is now clean. Psalms 147:19. He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He hath not dealt so with any nation. As for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye Yahweh. And lastly, before we get into it, Isaiah 66:15, a future prophecy. For behold, Yahweh will come with fire and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword will the Lord Yahweh plead with all flesh, and the slain of Yahweh shall be many. They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh, and the abomination, and the mouse shall be consumed together, saith Yahweh. Okay? So these were some precepts just to bring out before we actually start this actual letter. Okay? Because, the wicked don't have nothing to do with these scriptures. All right? And it says a sinful man will not be reproved, but find an excuse according to his will. All right? So this is the start of the letter. I'm not going to read all of this because I want to keep this. I want to keep this video at a certain point time wise. But so I want to move around a little bit. It says occasionally, since Bible believers will also will ask us whether the Bible does not say that pork is unclean, and therefore question whether Christians are to eat it. Now that's a good question, as my brother Minister R.C. Sproul says. So let's go to the Bible and ask, is eating pork unclean? It says one of the early names we considered for our ranch was Thousand Hills Ranch. The idea is from Psalms 50 and 10. For every beast of the forest is mine, and the cattle on a thousand hills. What a beautiful truth that is. The cattle on a thousand hills belong to God, not anyone else. He created them, and they are His. And not only the cattle on a thousand hills, but all the cattle on all the hills in all the world belong to Lord God. And not only all the cattle are His, but so are all the horses and the chicken and the sheep and the goats and all the pigs. They are His too. Okay? So here this fork-tongued devil, okay, is trying to use Psalms 50 and 10, talking about the cattle on a thousand hills belong to the Lord. Okay, everything belongs to the Lord. What does that have to do with consumption, okay, and the clean and the unclean? What does that have to do with anything? It doesn't matter that the Lord made everything, okay? He's still going to make separations. That's why you have the profane, right, and the holy. This is Ezekiel 18 and 4. It says, behold, all souls are mine. As the soul of the Father, so also the soul of the Son is mine. The soul that sinneth, it shall die. Okay? So the Lord has plans, all right, for the souls. There's separation. Matthew 13, okay? So here in Matthew 13, you have the parable of the sower. And the sower sowed seed onto the earth. Okay, and when those seeds sprung up, it was good seed, but there were also tares sprinkled in. So in Matthew 13 and 37, the Lord is explaining to the disciples the parable. He answered and said unto them, he that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world, and the good seed are the children of the kingdom. But the tares are the children of the wicked one. The enemy that sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of the world. The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them which do iniquity, and shall cast them into a furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Then shall the righteous shine forth as the son of the kingdom of their Father, as the son in the kingdom of their Father. Who have ears to hear, let them hear. Okay, so all the wheat is the Lord, all the tares is the Lord's, but He's making a separation. Okay, doesn't mean the tares can be consumed with the wheat. Okay, the tares are going to be gathered and thrown in the fire. And anything else that offends. You see? So to make that comment, all the pork and all the pigs and all of the cattle is all the Lord's, that has absolutely nothing to do with anything. All right? Now, let's go to this next paragraph. It says, and since all animals as well as plants, of course, belong to God, we human beings have the privilege to eat them only because God has given us that privilege. And as we look closely into the Bible, we see that God did indeed give mankind the privilege of eating food, which belongs to God. And so, when God created man, He said to him, see, I have given you every herb that yields seed, which is on the face of all the earth, and every tree whose fruit yields seed. To you it shall be for food. Genesis 1:29. But you may ask, I see that God did not give mankind permission to eat meat, only plants. Maybe we're supposed to be vegetarians. So this last statement here is an example of the pride and the frowardness of Esau Edom. Okay? See, he can't get away from himself. He fits all of the characteristics, all right, of Esau Edom. You see the frowardness? Maybe we're supposed to be vegetarians. Now, this devil is not going to explain to you that in Genesis 1 and 29, it was before the fall of man. It was before Adam sinned. So before Adam sinned, okay, there was no killing any animals. All right? He didn't have to kill any animals. There was no blood required for sacrifice either. So all of the trees and the herbs were good for meat. But of course, he's not going to tell you that. This is Daniel 12 and 10. Many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. So you can't expect Esau, Edom to understand any of this. Okay? Let's continue. But let's not be too hasty. It was only after Noah's flood that God gave men the privilege of eating flesh. Okay? That is not scriptural at all. Okay? Where is he getting that from? It says, to Noah and his descendants, God said, every moving thing that lives shall be food for you. I have given you all things, even as the green herbs. And so from Noah on, mankind, the godly as well as the ungodly, were given God's permission to eat flesh, that is, meat and fish and so on. And not just some kinds of flesh. God said every moving thing that lives, all things, no animals excluded. And so Noah and Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and the 12 patriarchs, along with all other people, enjoy eating cattle and sheep and goats and pork. Imagine that, Abraham eating pork. You see, this is a fucking devil, right? He's a devil. All right, now what he's not, or what you're not understanding here is there was an oral law. So nice try, Esau, Edom. The oral law, before it became a written law, was still given to Abel. Okay? So you had Cain and Abel, all right, and they both had sacrifices. How did they know to make sacrifices? Genesis 4 and 2. And she again bare his brother Abel. Okay, talking about Eve. And she again bare his brother Abel. And Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And Abel he also brought of the firstlings of his flock. Why would Abel bring the first of his flock to sacrifice to the Lord? Because that's what he was instructed to do. And the fat thereof. Why is that important? Because the Lord told him how to present the sacrifice. You see? So this devil tries to make you believe that there was no law, okay, and that man was eating anything they wanted to. No, there was a law, and this proves it. It says, and Yahweh had respect unto Abel and to his offering, but unto Cain and to his offering he had no respect. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. Genesis 7 and 1. And Yahweh said unto Noah, now this is the Lord talking to Noah, come, thou and all thy house into the ark. For thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation. So if there was no law, why is Noah being called righteous in direct contrast to being unrighteous? That means he's doing something right. What was he doing right? Whatever the Lord told him. 2. Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by sevens, the male and his female. And of beasts that are not clean by two, the male and his female. So here you have Noah with understanding as he's loading up and filling up the ark. He knew the difference between what? Clean and unclean. What is clean and unclean got to do with anything? Because it was about consumption and sacrifice. Leviticus 3 and 9. Okay? It says, and he shall offer the sacrifice of the peace offering, an offering made by fire unto Yahweh, the fat thereof. You see? We saw that the fat thereof with Abel and his sacrifice. Okay, because the fat belongs to the Lord. I'm jumping down to 16 for the sake of time. And the priest shall burn them upon the altar. It is the food of the offering made by fire for a sweet savor. All the fat is the Lord's. It shall be a perpetual statute for your generations throughout all your dwellings, that ye eat neither fat nor blood. Who likes their steak bloody? Okay, Israelites don't eat bloody steak because they're not supposed to. We like our food well done. Why? Think it's by coincidence that we like our food well done? No. So when you read this Leviticus, and you go into verse 10, and it talks about the kidneys and the fat have to be separated, a certain way. All of that is just, the ceremony of how the sacrifice was supposed to be prepared. All right. And the fat belongs to the Lord. So that's why when you go up here and you see Genesis 4:4, and Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof. Okay, that was the oral law. All right, Revelations 22:18. Because Esau got a problem with adding to the scriptures. Revelations 22:18. For I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book. If any man shall add unto these things, God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. And if any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, the Most High shall take away his part out of the book of life and out of the holy city and from the things which are written in this book. All right, so let me, for the sake of time, basically, so what the devil does is he tries to use Mark 7, all right, when Yahweh's disciples, the 12 disciples, they were eating with unclean hands, all right, and so they had a ceremonial washing of hands, okay, this overly washing hands for this, washing hands for that, and then they tried to say that Yahweh's disciples were unclean because they were eating with unwashed hands. So when you go into Mark the 7th chapter, that's what that's talking about. It's talking about the ceremonial washing of hands, the unnecessary. It is all this washing of hands. So when Yahweh talked about it's not what goes into you that defiles you, he was talking about the ceremonial washing of hands. And nothing to do with unclean animals or anything like that. Okay. Let me continue on. And so, no, let me wait over here. Now in here, I can't read all this for the sake of time, but right here, he's trying to say that at Acts 10, all right, when Peter had the vision on the housetop, that the Lord said that this is where it's okay to eat pork now. All right. But that had nothing to do with eating anything. It had something to do with Peter calling a man clean or not. Okay, or calling a man common. All right. This is Acts 10:28. And Peter, he says, and he said unto them, ye know how that it is an unlawful thing for a man that is a Jew to keep company or come unto one of another nation. But the Most High have showed me that I should not call any man common or unclean. So this is Peter's statement. His statement was his vision that he saw. It says, the Most High have showed me that I should not call any man common or unclean. Didn't have anything to do with eating clean and unclean animals. Okay, it was about him not calling man common or unclean. All right, and all of that also goes back to Hosea 1:9. All right, because this, when he said going into another nation, all right, the northern kingdom were considered another nation, all right, because of their sins. All right. The Lord said that they would not be a people to him. So he cast them away. And they became wanderers among the nations. Proverbs 8:8, it says, all the words of my mouth are in righteousness. There is nothing froward or perverse in them. They are all plain to him that understand it, and right to them that find knowledge. Sirach 39:24, and his ways are plain unto the holy, so are they stumbling blocks unto the wicked. All right, so this devil believes that, all the ceremonial laws, of course, are done away with, including eating clean and unclean animals. All right, and that's not so. That's simply not so. Um, you know, you don't eat swine. Okay, you don't eat swine. You still have your clean and unclean animals. And in Revelation, okay, Revelation 22:11 says, he that is unjust, let him be unjust still. And he which is filthy, let him be filthy still. And he that is righteous, let him be righteous still. He that is holy, let him be holy still. And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give every man according as his work shall be. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city. For without are dogs and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and idolaters, and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie. I pray that this lesson was edifying. And to the next one, I say shalom.